My peeps on Facebook and YouTube, welcome. And for my peeps who are here in the Zoom room with me, welcome. Okay, I'm streaming. We are good to roll. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our presentation. We're just going to get started. As you know, we have been going through the different emotions. We are understanding our emotions, the lower vibe emotions, the higher vibe emotions. They are all good. There is no bad when we learn to use them wisely. So that is what we're going to be doing. Today I am right at this moment opening up my presentation so that we can get started. And today I do believe we are going to be going with this is our fifth, I believe this is our fifth one. So how exciting is that? So as I'm going along, if you do not understand things, go ahead and put a comment or write it in the chat so that I can address it later on when I am looking at the replays and answering people's questions, and then also during my Zoom session with my peeps that are here with me in my Zoom room so that we can clarify things as they need be to. Okay, so we are all about the brain here at DIY Mental Boost. All about the brain and learning how it is that we can utilize all of our emotions wisely. Now I'm about to do a screen share, and I hope I don't turn down my presentation, but the screen share should bring up it for everyone. If you do not have it, then just leave me a chat and let me know that you're not seeing my screen share. I'm going to open it up, and you should see the big one coming up right here. So that should be, we should all see we are all about the brain. And hopefully my little self is out of the way and that I can hide some things. Okay, so let me put this here in case anyone is saying anything to me. There we go. We're all about the brain at DIY Mental Boost. The brain can only produce what we tell or allow it. Now, yes, that is what I start out every single time because it is the most important thing you're going to come to know. You are going to come to know exactly how important this is and how it is that it is affecting what you have in your life and what you don't have in your life. So, do not get upset when you hear me say that all the time. Here we go. We help you put the pieces together for understanding your brain's amazing powers to create what you want and to regulate your emotions. So this is something that if you had learned at a younger age, it would already be an automatic program in your subconscious and you wouldn't be learning it. But since most of us, I was 48, I didn't learn this until I was 48. This is something that I have to learn now to understand and be able to see what I'm able to do with my brain. We're going to use all emotions wisely. We are now on faith. We've already done the ones above faith. If you want to catch those live replays, you can do so on my website at DIYmentalboost.com. But we're on faith. And then we are getting ready to do also today failure, which is very connected to self-esteem, rejection, low self-esteem, and rejection. So we're going to learn how with our lower vibe emotions that we're going to accept, feel, and release them. And then with our higher vibe emotions, how we're going to enhance them. Lower vibe emotions, purpose and use. As we know, if you've been listening to me for a little while, they're supposed to sound alarm, little small alarms that tell us to pay attention. How dramatic of the alarm, always remember it depends on you when you start to pay attention or if you're ignoring it. It then should create the need for an action. When we take an action, the alarm will turn off, like when we reach over and turn the alarm off. But what if we turn the alarm off and don't get out of bed? Then we're going to have a problem. So if we take an action and the action is not a productive action, then we're going to have more issues coming from the fact that we did not listen to the alarm. So all vibes can become constructive or destructive, depending on how you use them. The tester is looking at your footage. Now, what is that? That is your results. Okay? What your thoughts, which create your actions, are producing in your life. So it's what you're thinking, which is causing you to feel and act a certain way. What are the results? Now, a lot of times we're used to little minor good results. It's kind of like when they have on the TV, take this medicine, but you're going to have blah, 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 this happen. And we're like, oh, okay, we'll take all the blah, blah, blah if we get this. Well, that's sometimes what we do in life. We get a little results, and there's also a whole lot of yucky results. And we're just like, oh, okay, well, that just comes with it. No. When you're using your vibes, your lower and your higher vibes in a great way, you don't have that. What you're going to get is good results. So a good barometer for me that I use is this. Am I producing patience, kindness, truthfulness? Am I protecting what is good, trusting, hoping, and persevering? Or am I producing envy, boasting, pride, dishonoring others, self-seeking, easily angered, keeping track of wrongs, delighting in other people's misery? They're unhappy and I want them to be unhappy because I'm unhappy, or they did something and I need them to feel bad. That's what I use as a good barometer to see my fruitage. And that's what I do with everything in life. So you could find your own barometer that you want to use, but that's just a recommendation for some. So what you want to take time is to train your brain. Now why? Again, we need to remember the horse goes where the rider tells it. Unless, of course, the horse takes the bit. Then the rider is what? Struggling. Okay? So we develop patterns. Some are helpful, yet many impede. Okay? And we have come used to just dealing with chronic roller coaster emotions, unwanted habits, actions, or chronic pain. We just get used to tolerating it for years and years with only minor changes. That's just a thought program of how we've learned to deal with it, how we've been trained to deal with it. This becomes the norm. To be upset when something happens, the norm. To be anxious, the norm. To be mad, okay? Because they're not told differently. Like when we used to think it was not possible to go to the moon, to fly in the air, or to talk to someone who lived hundreds of miles away and we're not even face to face. Those are things that in the past were not even conceivable, and some people never even thought of those things. But for us now, they're just normal, natural things. When you learn how to do this pattern with your brain, it becomes a normal, natural thing too. Does that make sense? Does that sound exciting? So when you train your brain, that's what you get. You get to see what you thought was impossible for you to do, that you find out that it very is possible. It doesn't have to be your norm to have chronic roller coaster emotions, unwanted habits, actions, or pains. It's just because we weren't told yet. That's it. That's it. And once we're told, now we know what to do, and that's what we do here at DIY Mental Boost. So I'm glad you're here. And I know that you're finding this very fascinating, because that's how I felt when I found out about it. I was fascinated. So you're going to put little hearts and let me know you're fascinated too. Little thumbs up. So what are we dealing with today? We're dealing with faith. Faith. The belief in yourself, others, and what is possible. When we have failures, hurt feelings, disappointments, it leads to doubt and trust and sadness issues. Then the loss of faith is produced. Faith grounds us, so it's good to cultivate it. Okay? Which means when we have failures, hurt feelings, and disappointments, we need to make sure we are regulating those in a great way to what? Sound an alarm, there's a problem, and to take productive action. So you start with your self-care. Where? In the mind. A lot of people like to do on the outside. You're going to do lots of outside things, trying to make themselves feel better or to trust. But if you do it here first, it's easier. You don't have to do a bunch of activities and finally the activities switch the mind. Just do it in the mind first, if you so choose. So how do we lose faith? Okay, how do we lose faith in ourselves, in others, and that the things that are good are possible? Well, what it is we start to focus on looking for all the imperfections, all the things that have gone wrong. And then we say, see, that means that's why it's going to go wrong again and again and again and again. We're not giving credit where it is due. When something goes wrong, we take it personally. And we tell ourselves that there's something wrong with ourselves. We're a victim. We're unlovable. Not taking responsibility for ourselves is another thing, because we're always looking to see where we can shift the blame. It's them, the people over there. That's the way I am reacting this way. It's because he did this. This is why I'm feeling this way. It's why we didn't succeed, because they didn't do this. That's how we lose faith, because we take our own power, we give it to others and saying, you need to do this in order for me to feel good. And then when they don't, we lose faith. We start to doubt. Is that making sense? You know, do your hearts, do your thumbs up if that is making complete sense. I know that it is. So give me some affirmation that you agree. How do we keep our faith? Keep track of all the good things that are going on, that are right. Even the little things. Do for others. Do not focus on your own self only. If you have an issue, that's the day to do something for someone else. Like shift the brain not to focus on you and your issue for the day. Stay in the cycle of giving and receiving. Giving and receiving. Don't just give. Don't just receive. There's a reason that's not great. You can look at one of my videos for that. You want to be in the cycle of giving and receiving. And do not sit back and wait for others to do first. That's what many have said. Oh, well, they didn't, so I didn't. Well, he didn't call me. Like, well, did you call him? No. So he's not calling, you're not calling, no one's calling. You don't have to always sit back and wait for others to do things first when you want to clear things. And then what can you do? What I tell everyone, those are practical things. Rewire your brain, do the 3-step thought process to start unlinking unwanted responses to situations. So if you have not already gone to DIYMentalBoost.com and clicked to make a free account, do so now. You actually don't need to make a free account because all the information is there for you to start right now. There's an easy start here page, and I've also added a 7-day crash course that actually is now in the spot where it says easy start here. I'll have to update that because I just made it go live over this Friday. So you are going to do the 7-day course or click and make an account so that you can do the easy start here and just get started. Now what's great about it is that if you just get started, the whole point is the videos will tell you what to look at. The videos will then tell you the tasks to do. And then at the end of the video, you should have this shift. Then it's done. You'll leave it. And then when you choose to sit down again, like maybe the next week or do a second video in the same week, well then you'll do focus again. So when you're working on yourself, you don't want to get obsessed about it. You don't want it to interfere with things. You want it to be something that your brain is enjoyable, that it likes doing. Like my favorite TV show. I don't think it's a burden to sit down and make time to watch it. I can actually sit down and make sure every Sunday when it comes on, today's Sunday, right? When Calls the Heart comes on, I'm going to be ready at 6 o'clock. No one has to remind me. No one has to encourage me to. I'm just like, I'm there. So when you make self-care for your mind just a part of your week, it's something that you do, that you enjoy. But if it's about, oh, I'm trying to make this change, I need to do this, you're taking the joy out of it. You're sucking the joy out of it. And your brain is not going to be so eager to do it. Okay? Let's get on to our next topic. We're dealing with failure. What is the proper use of failure? What's its purpose? First, failure starts when success ends. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Because when you are no longer successful in trying to do an endeavor, it didn't come out, then it means that you failed. It defines the limits of success. Okay, success in many times always follows failure. when you first learned to tie your shoe. The first you started, you got one part good, but then the second hoop and and then you tried another time, and eventually you succeeded. But it took 2, 3, 4, 5 times of failure for you to succeed. So do you see why we do not need to be afraid of failure? Because it leads to success. Failure can lead to success. Or we train it to mean failure means we don't do it again. That we're not going to try again because we're going to fail. You see? Okay. You also can use it to know what options you've tried and done and don't work, and you're going to try new ones. But if we look at failure like, oh, I'm stupid, I can't get it done, I know it's hard for me, it's always hard for me, I can't do it, it's difficult. Well, then failure becomes a problem. We have to remember failure has nothing to do with our ability or our capability or who we are. It has unusefully been used that way to identify someone. Failure, that means that you're no one, you can't do, there's something wrong with you. But that's just a mental self-program that you may want to release. You may want to get rid of. Because why? Instead of causing you to pay attention and take action, it gets just stuck, stagnant. You don't want to try again. You're afraid to try new things. You don't want to do it again because it was hard the first time. We want to use the proper use of when we do things that do not turn out the way that we intended the first time or the second time. So if you fail, what's the big deal? Because you're telling yourself something. Is your brain telling you how you feel if you're a failure? Okay. But if you use it properly, the brain will tell you really nice things about if something is not successful. That will motivate you to try different ways of doing it, different options, but not feel that there's a problem. Remember, your brain can only produce what you think, do, and say. How others choose to see it, okay, now that's another story. You're going to still be around people who are running on a different normal, a different program, and they may say, well, if you didn't do this, this is a failure. But that doesn't have anything to do with you. Because when you learn that, you will not feel what they feel. If they feel it, it won't be a concern for you. You'll understand that's the way they do it and allow them to continue doing it that way. But it has nothing to do with you and how you feel about yourself and what you're going to do. So others choose to use it. They have to live with those results. What you tell yourself to maintain a healthy brain environment, okay, is what we're concerned about. If you're concerned about that, remember you need to look at your fruitage. Because sometimes we're like, well, how do I know if I'm doing this right? How do I know if this is really good? I mean, why should I be thinking that way? Again, look at your fruitage. Does it produce good results? And only good results, like the majority of it? Or is there a bunch of side effects? People not liking you, people arguing with you. Okay, then you want to say, ooh, maybe the way I'm dealing with this or doing this, I'm going in the right direction, but I'm not getting the results that are the best. So I'm just going to tweak here, tweak there. It's okay to tweak. I do a lot of tweaking. I'll come with something, and I'll be like, ooh, and I'll go, and then I'm like, okay, that's not coming off right. And then I got to tweak it again, but that's okay. Okay? You know you're on the right line of thought, and just keep going. So what do you think you should be thinking, doing, and saying that produce good results? You loving what I'm saying today? I'm excited to be telling you. I'm enjoying it. So, failure is not an identity. Let's remember that. When we use it, the way it produces a feeling of being a failure. When we use it as an identity, it produces a feeling of being a failure. Failure is just an act. Failure is just an act or instance of failing or proving successful in something. That's it. That's it. Then you can do redos until you succeed. Or you may choose to resign. This is okay too. You may decide, maybe it's not the time for that to occur and it's just not working. But it doesn't mean later on it won't, right? Einstein said, I'm just going to go with what they said. I really don't know if he said it, but it says failure is success in progress. So it sure does sound good, and I think that's a good mindset to have. So remember, failure is just an act. I love it if people write it in there, in the comments, in their chat. Failure is just an act, ACT, or an instance of failing or proving unsuccessful. It is not an identity. Failure is just an act or instance of failing or proving unsuccessful. It is not an identity. It is not an identity. Did you get it? I hope you did. I know you did. So how do you release feelings of failure and rewire how you view a failure? I'm telling you, think this way, or sharing with you. You may want to try thinking this way. You're like, okay, that sounds great. But then your brain is saying, I'm a failure. What do? Your inner work. That's what we're all about at DIY Mental Boost. Cultivate and feed your brain in a healthy way. How do you do that? Motivating self-talk, regulating emotions. You're going to do the 3-step thought process to get that in subconscious so that you're automatically doing it. In the subconscious, automatic. You don't have to catch your brain to say stop thinking that. When you get the 3-step thought process going, your brain will just null and void. It won't go there. It won't go there. Right now you're used to going there, and then maybe you catch it and kind of bring it back. That's great work. Now you're going to keep working until your brain is not going there at all. So productive actions, okay, that back up the work that you're doing, the self-talk that you're doing, and enjoyment, lots of enjoyment, okay? So how about some practical ways, okay? Conscious practical ways that you can actually do too. Because I do everything inner too, I do all that. But there's also conscious ways that I back up that. It's like a double layer of backup. I don't know how to explain it. It's just way of life that continues to generate my subconscious to keep automatically keeping me at a high level of peace, no matter what's going on, no matter what's coming at me. So your conscious ways. You can do affirmations for your self-worth. Affirmations are great. Now people think, oh, affirmations. Well, if you do affirmations, after you have cleared out what's in your subconscious, it says nay, 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 affirmations work really good and they keep you up. So it's like when you have a child, you want to help them to continue to keep doing good. You affirm, you can do it. I know you can do it. You got it. You're great. You're cute. You're this. You're lovable. Everyone. That's what you do to yourself. Okay, if you're waiting for someone else to do it, you may wait a while to do it for yourself first. Then when others do, it doesn't make a difference how they do it. You'll grab whatever they throw at you and be like, oh, great, thank you. Oh. Okay? Do not criticize the failures of others. Okay, that's a pattern. So make sure we're not in that pattern. If we are, we can do the 3-step thought process to help break that. When you do a project, break up what success is by celebrating the steps of the project. Does that make sense? So you're doing a project, it's going to take 4 different steps to get there. Each time you make a success to that, cheer it on. Because if on the 4th, you only got 3 and the 4th is not working, your brain will already have been so motivated because it's got the 3. It's like, okay, the 4th, we're just going to tweak it. Do the tweaking. Clean up on aisle 4, little spot check. Does that make sense? And then you want to identify what you did well and clarify what or how you will do differently next time. This is one of the key ways. A lot of times what we do is when we do a mess up, we talk about it and vent about it, complain about it, and just do it and all that. And then we never then tell our brain, okay, now what are we going to do differently? Because we're still so stuck on, oh no, I did this, I did this, I did this. But we never clearly tell the brain, okay, let's do something else. So I suggest when you have something you're doing and it's not going in the way, clarify or identify what you did well. Focus on that. And then the things that you didn't do well, instead of talking about them and making them feel bad, clarify what you'll do differently. As you start to do that, that's training your brain how it's going to deal with things that don't turn out the way you expect it. And that is everything all the way from relationships to your job to anything that goes on in your life. So you start doing that. So identify what went well. You have a breakup, identify the great things that were in that. And then clarify, oh, that didn't turn out well. What did I do? What did he do? What could be different? What didn't I pay attention? What can I do next time? And then say, brain, that's what you're going to do next time. And then instead of trying to put up a wall and say, oh, I'm never going to date again and protect myself from those feelings, your brain will be more open to saying, okay, I'm not worried. I know what I'm going to pay attention to, and I'm smart enough to make sure. Just like when you get rid of a fear of a phobia or swimming, if you've never gone swimming, you're not going to just jump in right away because you got rid of the fear. So one of the things people are afraid of, that when they de-escalate the emotion, that it's not going to make them aware anymore. And I promise you, keeping the emotion makes you unaware. Letting go of the emotion makes you very aware, keeps you very safe. If you understand that, make a heart. So of all of these practical conscious ways, I will say my favorite is to identify what you did well. Keeps you on a high vibe. And then clarify what didn't go well. Keeps you still on a high vibe. So identify what you did well. Clarify what or how you will do differently next time for your brain, so that you will not keep making the same choices, mistakes, errors, whatever it is, in business, in life, in relationships, with your husband, with your kids. So do you see how your emotions is all the way across the board? Sometimes we'll have it in one area. Oh, I'm great at work, but then at home it's different. It's because you just didn't apply the greatness that you do at your job. You're not realizing what you're doing to make yourself great at your job. You just take that and you put it in your work. You take that and you put it in your spirituality. You take that and you just get it across the board, so that all the good just keeps going across the board. And when you find something that you're like lacking in, you feel that you want to change or enhance, you clean it up here in your relationship. Well, then just take it and make sure you're cleaning it up in everything else. The other avenues in your life. The other needs that you need. Do not panic on the information I'm giving you, because this is stuff I say all the time in all my videos. So eventually it'll just start making complete sense, and you'll remember it. And it'll be easy because your brain will start doing it with the 3-step thought process. That's why I like the 3-step thought process. You don't have to remember all this stuff, because if you do the 3-step thought process, your brain will start doing it. So a lot of times I will have cleared up stuff, but maybe I don't know much about finances. So then of course I'm going to study up and put in my brain what I need. Then my brain's going to run with it. Okay? But sometimes I already know the good stuff, but yet my lower vibe was getting in the way. So as soon as I cleared out the lower vibe, making it practical in its intensity, then all that other stuff I knew come to the surface, and I would take off and run. So at this moment, the stage that you're at, all you're going to do is learn to drop things down with the 3-step thought process. And then what your brain knows will kick in, and then what your brain doesn't know, it will actually say, oh, I can find out. Because so many times when we're in low vibe state, we will take not knowing as an excuse to not learning how to do and then doing it, which I don't know. I can't do that. I don't like it. And then we just don't do it. We don't even go to see why or how we could like it. Maybe if we could, or maybe if we could do it if we had this tool or that tool. So don't be worried about all this information, trying to remember it and how you're going to implement it. Do not worry about all this information and how you're going to implement it, how you're going to retain it. Do not worry. All you got to do, sit down, watch a video, start clearing things up. Now, on my website, the way I have designed it now, because I've been tweaking, I've had it up for a year, and I've tweaked and enhanced it. It's not the same as when it first was there. The way it is now is that I put all the levels on the website for you to do. So if you sit down and just start doing them, you can actually do all the levels within 1 year. Or you can speed it up by doing 2 videos a week, or 3 videos a week, or if you did it daily, you actually could probably complete all 4 levels in 3 months. Now, I tell you this not to put pressure on you. But you need to look at your life, look at your schedule, and see what works for you, what feels good. And then you will have the same results as anyone who did it in 3 months or did it in 6 months or 9 months or a year, or even if it takes you a little longer. It's no big deal because you're going to be making changes as you go, so you're going to stay motivated. So it's not like I got to do this for a whole year and then maybe I'll see results. No, as you're working, what you feel today, you will not feel tomorrow. What you feel this week, you will not feel next week. What you feel this month, you will not feel next month. It will be enhanced. It will be changed. It's all to keep you motivated. So no matter the progress you make, you're always going to be grateful for the progress, and the progress that you're still going to make in the future, you will patiently wait until you get there to get it done. Be kind to yourself. Okay? Always be kind to yourself. There's no need to be mean at any time for any given reason. Kindness motivates you much more than being mean to yourself. And if that is your pattern that you need to be mean, well, just do the 3-step thought process and you will then start being kind to yourself. So go to DIY Mental Boost. You can reprogram the subconscious to let go of feelings towards past failures. Click, get started today or tomorrow or next week, whenever it's convenient for you. Even if you don't start now and you don't start to 3 months from now, it's okay. Start then. Even if it's now and then it's a year later, it dawns on you, you know what, I really wanted to do that. Just come in a year. Okay? A lot of times when we don't do something, we're like, oh, I didn't do it. And we're so demotivated, we don't think, well, we can just get started now. We just don't do it. So remember, do it at your convenience, at your own pace. Keep yourself motivated. Do not be mean to yourself. Be kind. Be kind. Reminder. Yes, I know I say it all the time. Reminder. All those 5 emotions are like clock alarms telling us to pay attention and take action. I'm not going to beat it like a dead horse, but I got to always throw it in there because it is so important. Want it in your brain so that your brain does not see the things going on in your life as big, huge, emotional turmoils. Because I talk to a lot of people and they'll say, well, it's a big tribulation. It's a big trial. And I'm like, well, yes, if you see it that way, or you can just see it as an event that you're going to figure out how to do and get through it. It's up to you. So always remember, when there's things going on, just pay attention, take action, and then assign good things to them. And you learn how to do all that very simply by watching the videos, because the videos will take you step-by-step guidance to be doing that with every situation and every emotion that you address. So, do you want this in your life? Attitude, never know when things are going to blow up, when things are going to be a problem. Or do you want just good things? When you're working on projects, when you're in your relationships, it's pleasant. It's always happy. It's not up and down, maybe good, maybe bad. Your choice is yours, how you choose to use your emotions. Okay? The choice is yours. And now I'm helping you to see how it really is your choice. Because before it doesn't seem like it because no one told you how. No one showed you how to tie a shoe. You may say it's not possible. Matter of fact, think of it like this. Have you known people who don't drive a car? Here in New Mexico, it's quite common for almost everybody drives a car. It's not a big deal. And matter of fact, I think we learn at 14 or 15. But occasionally, and you go other areas where people, maybe in a bigger series, there's not need. And so when you talk about driving a car, it kind of seems like intimidating, or they can't get it, or they're older and saying, I can't, and they're making it. And you're like, no, if you just learn it, you'll do it really good. So this information I'm giving you may seem a lot, but that's only because it's new. Just like if it was new, if you were learning to tie your shoe when you were younger, it seemed a lot. And once you get it, or cooking, it will seem like nothing. Flying from here in the sky to Europe in a few hours is no big deal. Of course, 200 years ago, that would have been insane that anyone could think that you could do that. They'd say there's something wrong with them that they think they could do that. But we do it all the time now. It's no big deal. So once your brain gets used to this pattern, it will be no big deal. In the beginning, you may be thinking, oh, it looks like I have to. That's why I did the videos, to make it as simple as possible. Sit down, answer the questions, do the task, get the results, put it aside, enjoy your life. Next week, sit down, watch a video, answer the questions, do the task, and you'll just start getting the change effortlessly. If you do that, that's the only one thing you have to do. You have to consciously tell yourself, I'm going to update. I'm going to take Mondays and sit down from 4 to 5, 4 to 4:30. I'm going to do it on Tuesdays. I'm going to even do it once a month. It doesn't make a difference. The changes that you'll make will benefit you. Okay? That's the only conscious thing you have to do. And then once you do it, I give you the tools for the subconscious work. Easy peasy subconscious work. Okay? You're not going to be freaking out about the results. You're just going to get your results, write them down on your tracker, because I give you step-by-step guidance what to do. Later on, if you think you need to go back and work it over again, you'll do it. It's no big deal. Sometimes I've worked on things 3 or 4 times because I wasn't able to quite break it down. I waited to see what would happen, and then I kind of did a little bit of work. It's okay. You can do that too. Don't be sitting there thinking I have to sit down and make it all happen like right now. Patience. Kind to yourself. So create new thought patterns is what you're going to do. And at first, when you're working on some things, it may seem like just because it's a new pattern. And once the gears get going, that's what it'll do. So instead of failure and your brain saying, oh, this is awful, your brain's like, oh, okay, well, I did this great. Let me see what I'm going to change. And you're not going to get this emotion of, ooh, there's a problem. It's just going to keep you up. And that's in anything, and I mean anything. Whatever it is you're thinking that it can't do, it can. Whatever it is you're thinking, oh no, this would be too hard. This would be, if this happened, this would, if it whatever, and I mean whatever, WHATEVER. There's nothing your brain can't wrap around, I promise you. Nothing your brain can't wrap around. And why? It was designed to do that. The designer gave you that ability. Even in our little imperfect state that we live in, where we make mistakes and errors, the designer made it so that that does not stop you. You can actually use it to keep growing. But we've been using it to stop us. We just didn't know how to use it right. Okay? Go to DIY Mental Boost and make sure, if you want to stay in touch with me, make an account, because then you'll get my emails. If you haven't gotten an email and you've made an account, then there is a phone number. You can text me or reach out to me and say, hey, I'm not getting any emails. Okay? So that's great. But you don't have to stay in touch with me. You don't have to make an account. The information is there. Why is it there? This is a basic emotional skill every human being should know how to do, and they should not have to worry about how they get it done. Which is why I work on a donation basis. It's not because this information is cheap. It's not because this information is not valuable. This is actually one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Your emotional stability, being able to keep yourself, I mean, that's a skill at a certain level. We've had a skill of bringing ourselves low. We got that skill down. Now we're going to reverse it and do it up. Do it up. Do it up. And then once we learn, people will see our changes and they'll want to see, what can I do? Especially with children. Since children get it from their parents. If the parents do this, the kids will start to absorb this. And then you're going to be changing generations of how we view things. But it has to start somewhere. It starts with you. Me, you. Thank you for being here. This is the end of the presentation. So I'm going to be getting off. It is now 1:30. And I'm going to do my stop share. And I want to thank everyone for being here. For being here with me. It's been a pleasure. And I don't know if I'm pinned up there or not. I'm speaking, but I don't think that I'm, for some reason, showing up as the one who is the speaker. But hopefully you can, how about if I pin myself? Pin myself. I don't know. Maybe I'm there now. I don't know what's going on the other side. But I'm glad you were here. Oh, you know what I forgot? My little earrings. I love my earrings. Oh, well, next time. Next time. I'm glad to be here with you guys today, and I'm going to now stop the live stream. If you want to watch any of the other ones, I always try to put it in the links, and we will see you next week, Sunday, 12:30. We're going to move on to the next emotions around 12:30-ish. If Renee doesn't get distracted again, I'll have to do some 3-step things up here in my head this weekend. We'll see you later. Ciao.